Everyone, and welcome to today's video. This is a B1 level lesson on communication and learning styles. And in this video, we'll be talking about how to form WH questions. So how, when, and why do you communicate? So technology is giving us new ways to communicate. Here's some questions below, and if you'd like to answer these in the comments, that would be great. And perhaps we can start some conversation among the group. So who do you communicate with most, and how often do you communicate with that person? What ways do you communicate with people? Do you prefer communicating face to face or by text messages? How many emails do you send each week? And how long do you spend each day without talking or communicating with anyone? So these are some different ways in which people communicate. So he's writing a work email, delivering a lecture or speech, chatting informally with a colleague, texting a family member, talking in a formal environment, and catching up with friends. All right, so which way would you communicate the following things and why? And try to make a full sentence. For example, if I wanted to take a day off work, I would definitely communicate by email. So if you wanted to deliver bad news, uh, or organize to go to a movie theater, invite someone to a picnic. So maybe write some sentences about which method of communication you would use for each of these purposes. All right, so people communicate in different ways, and there are four types of communicators. Which one are you? There's the face-to-face communicator, the by every means possible communicator, the I only answer text communicator, and just make it quick. And here are some questions that you can try to answer on your own. All right, so we're going to read to learn the answers to some of those questions. Here we have some vocabulary words before you read. Extrovert, an outgoing, socially confident person. Reluctant means unwilling and hesitant. Embrace is to accept something enthusiastically. Close-knit is bound together by strong relationships and common interests. All right, so you can pause the video and read these on your own, or you can follow along as I read. Face-to-face communicators are often sociable extroverts who enjoy spending time in the company of others. Relationships are very important to them, and they often have close-knit families and form long-standing friendships. Face-to-face communicators are often attracted to careers in teaching or human resources. People who may be reluctant to embrace new technology may also prefer to communicate this way. So are you a face-to-face communicator? Or do you know any face-to-face communicators? All right, by every means possible. And we have some vocabulary here. Desperate means having a great need or desire for something. Wide circle of friends just means a large number of friends. And tech savvy means having a good understanding of technology. Hungry for human contact and often super sociable, by every means possible, communicators are desperate to stay in touch. They often enjoy working as sales representatives or in online marketing. These communicators often have wide circles of friends, although they may have trouble maintaining romantic relationships. Many tech-savvy people belong to this group. So why does the author write that these communicators could have difficulty with relationships? Well, if you have a large number of friends, many times those relationships are not very deep, and so it might be difficult to develop deeper relationships. And are you a sociable person compared to your friends and family? So that's another question you could answer in the comments if you would like. All right, now we're going to talk about WH questions. A question can ask about the object of a verb. So for example, what do you want to eat? Who should I give the piece of cake to? And which book do you want to read? A question can also ask about the subject of a verb. Who told you the bad news? What happened to Jack's car? Which students failed the test? So we can compare the two questions and the answers. So who gave you the painting? Aisha gave me the painting. So here, the answer to the question is the subject of the verb, subject that the verb gave. And what did Aisha give you? Aisha gave me the painting. So here, the answer to the question is the object of the verb gave. What did she give? She gave the painting. All right, so you're going to look at the questions and answers and then look at the rules about question types. Again, you can pause the video, do these on your own, or you can follow along as I read. So which communicator is hungry for human contact? That would be the by every means possible communicators. What do face-to-face communicators enjoy? Spending time with others. What do young people use the most to communicate? The answer would be cell phones. And who sent you text messages yesterday? My mom and Sally. So here are the rules for subject and object questions. If a question asks about the object of the verb, we use an auxiliary or helping verb, and we also change the word order. If a question asks about the subject of the verb, we do not change the word order. The word order remains subject plus verb plus object. In a question with prepositions, we place the preposition at the end of the question. All right, so now look at each question carefully. And is the question asking about a subject or an object? And then think about the answer. Is the answer to the question the subject or object of the verb? Is there an auxiliary or helping verb? And is the same word order the same in the question form? All right, so which painting would look good on that wall? So if you said the red painting would look good, this would be a subject question. So the answer is the subject of the verb. Is there an auxiliary or helping verb? So which painting would look good? So would probably be an auxiliary verb. And is the word order the same in the question form? Yes, so if we said the red painting would look good on that wall, is the same word order as which painting would look good on that wall. Who gave you that book? Sally gave me the book. Again, that is a subject question. What did he call you about? He called me about the homework. This would be an object question. Which of these clothes do you want to wear? I want to wear jeans and a shirt, so this would be an object question. Who did you make this cake for? That would be a or I made the cake for Sally. That would be an object question. And which runner won the race yesterday? John won the race yesterday. So this would be a subject question as well. All right, so it can take a while to identify subject and object questions, but it will help you learn to make different question types. So is the question about the subject or object of the sentence? And probably the easiest way to determine that is to go ahead and think of an answer to the question, and then you can kind of figure out whether it was a subject or object question. So who do I give this book to? You give the book to Jane, so that would be an object question. Which book do you read? Did you read? I read Treasure Island. Again, that would be an object question. What do you want to eat tonight? I want to eat pizza. Again, object. Who is your French teacher? Uh, Miss Antoinette is my French teacher, so here this would be a subject question. Which bus do you take for work? I take the H4 bus, so that would be object. Who told you that story? My mother told me the story. Subject. What happened on the weekend? Um, on the weekend, I went shopping, so that would be object. Or I went shopping on the weekend. And then who can help me? John can help you. So again, that would be subject or object. Sorry, subject. John can help me. So John would be the subject. What will we cook for dinner tonight? We can cook spaghetti. That would be an object question. And who did you email yesterday? I emailed my friend Joe, would be an object question. All right, so now you're going to put these words in the correct order to make questions. You can pause the video, try this on your own, and then restart to check your answers. All right, so number one, who did Sally text last night? That's an object question. Sally texted her mother. Who did Alex text this morning? Or who called Alex this morning? You could say Sally called Alex this morning, and that would be the subject. Which train does she take to work each morning? She takes the A train, so that would be an object question. What is Jason talking about? He is talking about scuba diving, so that would be an object question. What did she call you about? She called me about the homework, object. Which of these books do you want to buy? I want to buy this book, so that would be object. What are you listening to? I am listening to the radio, which is an object question. Which of your friends are coming to the party on Saturday? John, Michelle, and Keith are coming to the party. Those would all be subjects. What does Florence do? Florence is a nurse, so that would be object. And who is the best doctor in this neighborhood? Dr. Smith is the best doctor, so that would be subject. Right. Now we're going to read about the I only answer text communicators. Many parents are familiar with I only answer text communicators. This is the preferred means of communication for many young people, although it also appeals to introverts or anyone who prefers writing to speaking. These communicators are usually close to their friends, although they are also comfortable spending time alone. They are often well suited to working in quiet environments. So, do you know someone who only answers texts? We learned the word extrovert earlier in this lesson. So, what is an introvert? It would be the opposite of an extrovert, someone who enjoys spending time alone, doesn't necessarily need to be around a lot of other people. Okay, the final type of communicator, we'll look at some vocabulary words first. Thrive means to grow or develop well. Struggle is to have difficulty handling something or coping with something. Just make it quick communicators are impatient and permanently in a hurry. When they contact someone, they need an instant response and they get anxious if they don't get one. Work-wise, they strive in any fast-paced environment from chefs to paramedics. Just make it quick communicators often struggle to find the patience to maintain close relationships. So, do you become anxious if you don't receive an instant response to your messages? And are you a patient person? Again, you can feel free to answer these in the comments. All right, we're going to listen and you're going to determine which person who is speaking and what do they speak about. Is it 55-year-old Jordan? or 27-year-old Marissa who's speaking?
I prefer to communicate face to face or by phone. I send and receive emails from time to time since my children and grandchildren live overseas, but that's about it as far as my use of technology goes. Yesterday, I chatted with my wife, of course, and we spent some time talking with our next door neighbor. I also called an old friend of mine about meeting up for lunch next week. That's a pretty typical day for me. Most of my conversations are with my wife, our neighbors, or our close friends, usually during the day rather than in the evening. I don't talk to my children or grandchildren as much as I would like, but they have busy lives, and the time differences don't help.
So here are some answers. What are the questions? So Jordan's children and grandchildren. Could say, who does he not speak to very often? Um, who lives far away? Who lives in a different time zone? For letter B, his wife. Who does Jordan speak to every day? And same thing for the next door neighbor. And what does Jordan do during the day? Or when does Jordan speak with his wife and neighbor? The answer would be during the day. All right, so now Marissa talks about communication. So we're going to listen and then answer each question true or false.
I'm online almost all the time. When I communicate with people, I prefer to send a text message. I never make phone calls. I text my friends from the moment I open my eyes until I go to sleep. I see most of my friends face to face too, but we text constantly. I also spend a lot of my time on social media. Yesterday was a pretty normal day for me. I probably sent and received about 80 texts. Most of them were from or to my friends about a party next weekend or our math homework. I also exchanged a few texts with my mom, just about boring things. What time of day do I communicate the most? Well, I try not to use my phone during class, but apart from that, I use it all the time.
All right. So Marissa's online once or twice a week. That's false. It's almost every day. She never makes phone calls. That's true. She doesn't spend much time on social media. That is false. Yesterday, she probably received or sent about 25 texts. That's false. It was more than that. And she tries not to use her phone during class. That is true. Right, so now take a look at Marissa's words and see if you can make at least 5 questions about her. You can pause the video, try that on your own. If you want to share some of your questions in the comments, that would be great. All right, now this is Anders. You met him a few minutes ago on campus. So here are some answers. So make some questions for Anders. A degree in science. So you could ask him, what are you studying? Or why are you in college to earn a degree in science? What kind of technological devices do you have? You could say, I have a cell phone and a laptop. How often do you use social media? I use social media every day. What do you do for exercise? I usually run or go swimming. Who did you talk to last weekend? Talked with my mom and my older sister. Maybe what is your favorite sport? Football. Who are your best friends? Aiden and Kyle. And when did you graduate high school? 2016. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.